Yes, sorry.
Like that? How's that looking? That's right, we're 1 minute early. It's okay.
Give me 2 seconds.
No trouble.
Thank you for waiting.
No trouble, no trouble. Right, am I coming through loud and clear? Oops, you got... Okay, we're all right. Look, I want to start by acknowledging Sakdeep and Raj, the owners of this dairy that we're in front of, who have been victims of 2 ram raids, and just another example of, amongst many, of retailers who have been going through a difficult time. I want to acknowledge Nicole McKee, my ministerial colleague, and also Sunny Kaushal, who I'll be discussing soon. So the government's obviously committed to restoring law and order as a matter of high priority. We've committed to bringing having 20,000 fewer victims of serious violent crime, and also to see a 15% drop in the number of serious repeat youth offenders. In particular, we recognise the need for the country to rebalance the need of victims of crime versus the perpetrators. And we need to ensure that the voices of the victims of crime, particularly of victimisation, are heard clearly and considered. And sadly, retail crime has increased very significantly over the past few years. We've seen from 2019 to 2023, the total number of victimisations in retail locations increased by 86%. And we've seen a 92% increase in the victimisations relating to theft, and a 72% increase in victimisations relating to sexual assault. In addition to the personal harm caused by retail crime, the police conservatively estimate the cost to retailers of approximately $1 billion a year. The retailers actually estimate it could be as high as $2.6 billion per year. And ultimately, it's the law-abiding customers who have to pay that. It's not limited to theft and low-level shoplifting. It includes assaults on workers, including sexual assaults, armed robberies and ram raids. Around 230,000 people in New Zealand work in the retail sector, and they deserve to be able to do their job in peace and without fear. So we've announced a whole lot of changes in terms of sentencing reform to ensure that criminals face consequences for their actions. And as part of those measures that we've announced, we've included a new aggravating factor to address offences against sole charge workers and those whose home and business are in the same place. We've also funded extra police and given them extra powers to deal with gangs. However, we want to deal more with retail crime using expertise. And so today I'm announcing with Associate Justice Minister Nicole McKee the formation of a ministerial advisory group to the victims of retail crime, and the advisory group will work with industry workers, business owners and retail experts to directly advise Nicole and myself on specific legislative changes to address the rising wave of retail crime. The purpose is not further discussion, but to develop specific proposals that will make a real difference. We're running a targeted expression of interest process to ensure that we have an advisory group with the right sort of people, but we're going to announce today that Sonny Kaushal will be the chair of this group, and he brings a wealth of experience as chair of the Dairy and Business Owners Group and president of the Crime Prevention Group, and we'll appoint some extra appointments to the advisory group following to have a broad range of people in the retail sector. And the types, so, if you think about it, across the landscape we have many very well-resourced departments and advocacy groups who are very concerned about why we can't do things to protect the victims of crime. I want to have a powerful and well-organised group led by Sonny, making the case for change and coming up with specific proposals that'll make a real difference. They've been funded $1.8 million per year for 2 years, largely out of the proceeds of Crime Fund. So I'm very pleased to see that the criminals will be paying for this group that'll be devising and coming up with specific proposals to help us deal more effectively with retail crime. Happy to answer any questions.
What's the timeline for this?
Why is it going to take 2 years? Why can't you just roll it out?
No, well, they'll have the funding and the resources for 2 years, but I expect them to hit the ground running with specific proposals. And some of the issues that we particularly want them to come up with proposals on are how can the owners of their businesses protect themselves more effectively, rules around what security cards can and can't do, and also facial recognition proposals. So there's a whole number of things in this retail space that we want to make progress on. We're open to proposals, and we want this group particularly to do the policy work to come up with suggestions in that area quickly.
How long until you have the first proposals come through?
Sonny is a very quick worker. We'll be expecting things in the next few months.
From a broad strokes point of view, why do you need a group for this? Isn't this what you campaigned on?
Yes, well, as you all have seen, we have a very busy pipeline of work in the justice sector more generally. We started off with the gangs legislation, we've got sentencing reform, we've got 3 strikes, we've got the youth justice space. There's a huge amount of work, and the thing that is holding us up from going further faster is just the policy bandwidth within the Ministry of Justice. And so part of why we're having this extra group with extra resources is we want to get things done faster to go further in the retail crime space, and we want them to come up with specific proposals that we can that will make a real difference.
So what is your response to when something is like
Well, that's a different issue, and as I said on the news last night, as a shareholding minister of Kiwi Rail, there's independent investigations going on in the maritime space, and that's absolutely appropriate, and they'll be carried on as they are.
you say you want to reduce the number of victims by 2,000. When is that going to happen?
Well, the time span is over the next few years to 2029, but of course we want to do that as quickly as we can. There's been a big increase over the last 6 years, and we want to turn that around. And so, look, there's a whole range of things that we're doing around giving extra police on the beat, extra police powers to deal with gangs, toughening up the consequences for crime. So ultimately it's about increasing the chances of being caught and held to account. So that's on the serious violent crime, but we're also dealing with a wide range of retail crime, and that's why we're wanting specific proposals from this group to quickly deal with those issues.
So what information is this group going to give you guys that you aren't already getting as advice already?
It's what we're wanting to see is specific proposals around particularly those issues that I raised in the first instance around, because there is a very grey area around how security cars can operate, how sole owners of businesses can legitimately defend their property, and also we've got facial recognition trials going on as well. Those are some key issues that we're keen to get some particular proposals on, and we're up for change in this area as a government, and we want to get some of that policy work done as quickly as possible.
On the facial recognition, the supermarkets are already trialling it. So does that mean you'll have to wait until the advisory group also goes through it?
No. We'll be getting feedback from that trial, and there'll be a multitude of voices saying why we shouldn't do it, and I'm expecting this group to be outlining why it's important and how we could actually make it work for the benefit of the law-abiding citizens who are going about their business and wanting to be able to shop in peace and safety, and also the over 200,000 workers in the retail space who have the right to be able to go to work and not be living living in fear that they're going to be attacked.
Woolworths says that the trespass law is currently not fit for purpose. Is that something?
Already committed to. We've also made a commitment around stalking laws, and so it's what I want this group particularly focused on is this retail space where we've seen a significant increase. There is a real issue there, and I want them particularly focused on coming up with practical solutions that'll make a difference. Well, we've got a broad set of things that I've listed that we're interested in, and we want them to do the specific policy work, talk to the community and come up with specific proposals. But then, like I say, they're funded for 2 years at least, and we want to make sure that they keep pushing hard as to what's the next thing that we can do to improve the safety in the retail sector.
The National Party was so into Minister advising between Labour and Democrats. Why have you established yet another one? This is one of many that this government has established.
Yeah, because we're dealing with a real issue here with retail crime in this country. There's been a very significant increase, and as I've indicated, one of the things that's holding us back from making progress in many of these issues is the practical process of getting all the policy work done, because we've got such a busy set of priorities in the justice space, and I want this particular group focused on retail crime and the real challenges that this group face.
How many people will be in this group and when will they be appointed?
We're expecting probably 4 or 5 other members of the advisory group, and they'll come from right across the sector. Whether it's so we'll get a broad range, whether it's supermarkets, the jewellery space, the dairy owner space. So we've got a broad reach across the community.
How much influence will the government have? Will you be working closely alongside?
Absolutely, we're working closely alongside it. I think Sonny has well and truly established his credentials in this space as an advocate for the safety of the retail sector, and we're very keen to make progress quickly.
Last week, retailers in Papatoetoe were exactly protesting for more government action. Is this a reaction to that, or was it sped up because of that?
No. This has been in development for a number of months now, but there's no question that New Zealanders generally are impatient for change. We've made a strong commitment to restore law and order. Bringing legislation through can't be done overnight, because there are processes that you've got to go to, and they're absolutely appropriate. But we're hungry for change as well, and that's why I particularly want this group coming up with specific proposals that'll make a real difference.
What is your target for the midterm? Say that we're within the target of what is their target long?
Well, their clear instructions will be to come up with specific proposals that will make a real difference, and so I'd be expecting that they'll be making us uncomfortable, I'm sure, with all sorts of suggestions of law changes, because they're specifically giving advice to me as Minister of Justice and my associate around legislative changes that will make a difference. Well, no, we've got our overall target as a government where we want to reduce the number of victims of crime by 20,000, and that's what we're going to do.
How much money is going towards this plan?
The budget is 1.8 million a year for 2 years, and like I say, most of that will be coming from the Proceeds of Crime Fund, which my colleague is responsible for, and we're very pleased that the criminals are going to be paying for this.
Who else will be on the board?
We're working through expression of interest for that at the moment.
Sonny, you were a member of the National Party in the past. What are your affiliations with them now, other than this?
Look, I have been an advocate for the safety and also for the retailers from the last 13 years. That's even before when I got in touch with the National Party. And as you have seen over the years, we have been holding the government of the day accountable. It doesn't matter who is in power. If you remember, in 2016, we have been holding the then national government to account, and that's where the first allocation of funds for the pork cannons were introduced. Then, of course, the 2 terms of the Labour, we have been very vocal, and we have been holding the respective ministers to account. And so this is nothing with any national or Labour Party politics. This is about the fixing law and order and we are very determined to do that one.
What's your reaction to being appointed as the chair?
With the group.
Well, I'm really grateful that to the ministers Goldsmith and Mackey. I'm grateful that this government is serious to do something about it. This should have been done a long time back, and now we have a chance to turn it around. Just look, the lawlessness has gripped entire nation. We cannot have this going on like this, and we need to fix this. We need to come up with the actionable policies which need to be implemented short. Yes. I have been, and I promise you would be the first person to come to know as we come up with our first proposal, and that would be in a matter of few weeks.
And how will you be measuring your success? Because you potentially will only be here for 2 years.
No.
So what are you looking
Yeah, we would have our own KPIs, and of course, you would be the best judge. The Kiwis would be the best judge what we are doing, and we are also going to help in reducing the cost, because every crime costs the taxpayers. At the end of the day, you are getting the pressure of whatsoever happening. Retailers are paying for that one. Taxpayers are paying for that one. So we need to come up with those policies that could stop the crime. Crime is a crime, right? The only way to stop the crime is to stop the crime.
So, how receptive has the government been to some of your ideas already?
I'm really pleased. They have listened. And as we have last year, if you know, when we went to the parliament, that's where we submitted our petition. So quite a few items from that petition has been under consideration. So that tells you the government is serious to fix law and order. And we all Kiwis need to come together, because this is affecting each and every one. It's affecting lives.
If you're already able to affect change in that way, what difference will it be for getting a ministerial advisory group?
Well, I'm glad that I got the opportunity, but I would be seeking, the advice of the whole group would be working on this one, and of course we would be approaching the retailers, the supermarkets, like the MTA members or any retailers, and also the consumers. We are not just going to advocate on behalf of the retailers, but also on behalf of the consumers and the communities, so that we can come up with those actionable policies.
Will you be involved in picking people that are on the group alongside you?
I'm not sure at this stage. I think this is going to be the independent, and I would definitely like to be involved in that one, because what we would like to see is the members of the group. They should be representing their respective areas and the people who could make a difference in addressing this law and order situation.
So does that mean you look for people that are across the country?
Yes.
And so,
Yeah.
when it comes to law and order and crime, we're talking about making harsher sentences possibly and putting people in jail for longer. What about when they come out of jail? How do we know that they're going to create more?
Well, look, I mean, we've made it very clear that there need to be real consequences for crime, and that's why we're changing the Sentencing Act to reduce the number of discounts given in sentences, why we're bringing back 3 strikes, and why we're coming up with a young serious offender category for young offenders. So we are committed to doing that, and the current situation, or the situation that we've inherited, where people are just rotating through the justice system, creating fresh victims every weekend when they do it again, is not acceptable, and so people need to be held to account. It's always a continued focus of governments to try and rehabilitate prisoners, and that's why in a very difficult budget we allocated extra resources for enabling prisoners who are on remand, which is around half the prisoners, to have access to rehabilitation programs which they never had before. So we're very committed to that. Of course, the broader challenges that lie behind particularly some of the youth offending, whether it's not being at school, being truant, growing up in emergency accommodation, all those broader social issues we've got to keep working on, but they are never an excuse for crime, and people have to be held to account.
Minister, what's your message to the Indian Retailers Association? They've just launched a offenders in retail crime. What's your message to them?
Well, we've already got legislation underway to achieve exactly that with the young serious offender category, which my colleague Karen Shaw is introducing into the House, and we're prepared to consider further options as well. We are determined for there to be real consequences for
And
crime.
what about those owners who are just sick they're sick and tired of this, they're almost about to pack up shop and just leave?
Yeah.
How much longer will they have to put up with this?
Well, we understand their impatience for change, and that's why we're working as fast as we can as a government, and it's why we're putting extra resources into this particular group in the retail crime space to get things done faster, and that's what we're trying to achieve.
Do you have anything to add?
I think that this is really, really important initiative that has been undertaken by the government, and it's long overdue. As being the Minister in charge of the Proceeds of Crime Fund, what I've seen is a lot of effort come out of Wellington that hasn't actually hit the target where it's needed for retailers. So I'm proud to be part of a solution that's going to get the people who are the victims of crime talking to the other retailers, talking to the other victims as well, saying and telling us about the solutions that we can come up with that will help them rather than just dictating from Wellington. So it's a really important case that we have at the moment to be able to implement the retailers getting together to help us to help them.
Okay, thank you very much.
Paul, just a couple of questions on
Yep.
the Aratiri.
Oh, yes.
Are you satisfied with the time it's taken to complete the investigation?
Yes. I mean, look, investigations and accidents take a lengthy amount of time generally, and that's absolutely appropriate. They've got to do the job properly.
Are you concerned that QRL is able to discuss the accident in a leaked safety briefing to staff and not to present those causes to public?
Look, how Kiwi Rail manage those internal communications is for them and the board, and I'm not going to comment any further on that.
David's telling me was failed
Well, look, one of the first ways that a Minister of Justice can get himself into trouble is by commenting on court cases, and I'm not going to be doing that.
the update on the jailhouse selection
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
recommendation to look at jailhouse selection. Any update on
No, I don't have an update on that. It's something that we're still considering.
Final question, sorry. In terms of appointing Sunny, is this maybe a good example for the government to curb criticism on the handling of law and order, keeping Sunny close?
No, only simply that we want to have a particular focus on retail crime, and that has been an area where there has been significant increase over the past few years, and we want to have a strong spokesperson in this area pushing us hard, and we're quite ready to accept that Sonny and his group will make us quite uncomfortable as a government, because they'll be pushing us very hard, and we're up for that because we know that change has to happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Hey, how are you?